San Francisco, California, where the contest for the ultimate prize in sailing, the America's Cup, is in full flight. The defender, Oracle Team USA, went into day 4 behind on points and needing results. They'd taken stock. Olympic legend Ben Ainsley stepped aboard to replace tactician John Kostecki. But would the move pay off?
Oracle Team USA with their biggest lead so far here in the America's Cup.
The Americans nailed the first start and led downwind.
Gate number 2, it's Oracle Team USA with the lead, but can they hold on?
Only to be ground down by the Kiwis.
Oh, how close can it get? Team New Zealand, they're heading straight at Oracle. Really aggressive match racing move by Dean Barker.
And it was game over.
Day so far belongs to the Kiwis as they pick up their 5th win of the regatta.
In race 7, New Zealand turned the tables on the Americans at the start.
What will the Americans do to counter the speed of Emirates Team New Zealand?
And never look back.
It's an absolute Kiwi whitewash. They lead 6-1.
A clean sweep to the Kiwis. Another 3 wins, and the America's Cup will be New Zealand's once more. For the home team, time is ticking. It's time to fight back.
I think the question is, imagine if these guys lost from here. What an upset that would be.
Time to turn the tide. The September showdown continues. Another beautiful day here in San Francisco. Day 5 of the 34th America's Cup. Today we are scheduled for races 8 and 9. Alongside Gary Jobson and Ken Reed, I'm Todd Harris. Glad to have you with us on a beautiful day in the city by the bay. But Ken, the big word around town is the Americans need a win in a big-time way.
Well, they absolutely do, and they've done a lot of small changes to the boat. The word on the dock is they haven't done anything major, but they've done a lot of small things. Will it be enough?
And for Team New Zealand, it has gone almost perfectly as planned.
Little breezier today, though, Todd. One thing they have to really be careful of is breaking the boat. That's one of the things that could really mess this up for the Kiwis.
Wind expected to build throughout the day. Who does that favor?
Well, you would think it would favor the Kiwis because their boat is maybe been showing to be more robust. But if we've seen anything during this whole series, it's that things can happen in a drop of a hat and you never know.
Coming off a day off, who will have prepared better for today's 2-race showdown in the Bay? Races 8 and 9 coming up. As we get ready for race number 8, Ken Reed takes us to the starting lineup for Oracle Team USA.
Well, this boat is clearly built for aerodynamics and not necessarily for boat handling. Up front, you have purely grinders. But back in the middle of the boat, you have a little bit of everything. You have the offside jib trimmers, grinders, guys that have to be multi-purpose. They actually control the board hydraulics from these cockpits. Then, of course, the trimmers, wing trimmer, young Kyle Langford, and Joey Newton, who trims the soft foil up front, which is mainly called the jib. And then in the back, the afterguard stays the same from the last day. Tactician Ben Ainsley taking the place of John Kostecki.
So a big day in San Francisco for that man, Jimmy Spithill, the helmsman for Oracle Team USA, feeling all the pressure. They have gone back, made major changes to the boat and the crew. The question will be, will it pay off today?
We have made a lot of changes to the boat. First change is we've taken the spine off, so we have no option of a code 0. Looking at the breeze, I don't think that'll be an issue today. So yeah, we've saved some weight there. We've made a few other changes on the boat, and we've been very, very aggressive, but we're at the point where we need to be. And for the sailors, we just need to go out there and keep trying to do everything right.
And here is your starting lineup for Emirates Team New Zealand.
Todd, they clearly built this boat for crew handling. And up front, we have the guys that control all the hydraulics to the all-important dagger boards. In the middle of the boat, the grinders, the strength, the guys who supply the horsepower. And you'll notice in race 1, without Grant Dalton, they lost the only race that he wasn't aboard in this series. The wing trimmers stay the same. James Dagg up front. He is trimming the soft foil or the jib on board the boat. Glenn Ashby controlling that big wing. And then, of course, you have the afterguard. Skipper Dean Barker and tactician Ray Davies, who has had nearly a perfect regatta so far.
So the Kiwis holding on with 9 wins. They need 3 more, and they will be taking the America's Cup back to New Zealand. But as usual, skipper Dean Barker being very calm and very cool prior to going out.
Yeah, we're just continually refining our equipment and using what we think is the right equipment for the conditions, and so we'll just carry on doing what we're doing. We sort of have good confidence in the boat and the way it's going, and we just got to keep trying to learn how to race the boat a little bit better.
If you've just tuned in to the America's Cup, here's a quick recap of the action so far. Day 1 saw defender Oracle Team USA face challenger Emirates Team New Zealand for the first time. Then race 1 exploded on San Francisco Bay.
It's Oracle Team USA to leeward Emirates Team New Zealand to windward as they approach the line for the start of race number 1 of the 34th America's Cup.
The Kiwis drag raced ahead round mark 1. Oracle clawed their way in front after gate 2. Then Emirates Team New Zealand retook the lead and the win. Race 2 again went the Kiwis' way, and so did race 3. James Spithill, the 34-year-old defending skipper, was down, but not out.
We're going to come out, swinging in this race. We really want to take this one.
In race 4, he nailed the start, led downwind, nearly submarined at the bottom gate, and somehow led around the track with Emirates Team New Zealand blowtorching his backside.
Race number 4 belongs to Oracle Team USA.
It was a real sign of strength from the guys, having lost 3 in a row, and then to bounce back and win that one.
Race 5 then belonged to Spithill and his crew, until they messed up a foiling tack and opened the door for the Kiwis to claw ahead. Oracle was rattled. Spithill then played his joker to pull out for the day. It didn't work. Emirates Team New Zealand have an extra gear-up win. They left Oracle Team USA in their wake in races 6 and 7. Even substituting one of the best tacticians in the world, John Kostecki, for the best Olympic sailor of all time, Sir Ben Ainslie, made no difference. Dean Barker has been impressive in this competition. His icy demeanor is an intriguing contrast to the fire of James Spithill. Barker was relaxed enough to crack a joke at the post-match press conference.
We've got a few gold medals swinging around down the back, so hopefully they don't get tangled up in those.
Ben responded later that evening back at the Oracle base.
Jimmy and Dean have been great in the press conferences and really opened this America's Cup up to everybody, which is great. It's the first time we've really seen that in a long time.
So a tough spot for Oracle Team USA. The Kiwis only need 3 victories. The defenders need 10. This is the look here on the San Francisco Bay on a beautiful Saturday afternoon where the wind continues to build as the boats get ready to enter the start box. Bring you up to speed. Kiwis sit on 6 wins. The Americans have only won 1 race. The Americans need 10 wins to retain the Cup. And for the Kiwis, 3 more wins, and they will be taking the Cup back to Auckland. Weather always a factor in this beautiful part of the world. For more on that, we send it to our man in the know out on the water. Here's the 3rd member of our broadcast team, Gary Jobson.
Todd, the wind is coming out of the west at 20 miles an hour. The current is sweeping out of the bay at 2 miles an hour. We're just under the wind limit. What this means, big waves, boat handling is going to be a premium. These skippers have to know when to push hard and occasionally when to throttle back. It's going to be a very hard day out here.
All right, more from Gary Jobson throughout the day in the 2 races that we are scheduled for today. As we take a look at what he was talking about, here's the course and those blue arrows indicating the way the current is going. And Ken, they aren't the big blue arrows, but it is a tide that is going out of the San Francisco Bay.
It is. It's out of the San Francisco, called an ebb tide for the first time in this entire series. And what this does is I think it gives a slight advantage back towards Oracle. The problem with Oracle up to now, we all know, has been upwind legs. Well, this actually quickens the upwind legs. It shortens the time span, and it allows them to possibly go from side to side on the race course and not just have to play one side or one edge.
Well, the course remains the same. It's the blast start. You get the whole shot, Kenny, and you're off and running.
Off and running, and Oracle does have a slight reaching advantage on that first leg. We can again, if it's an even start, we could easily see Oracle ahead at Mark 2. Can they hold it on that long beat? Finish, as always, right off of America's Cup Park.
And there are the two men in charge, helmsman and skipper Dean Barker on the left, the 40-year-old out of New Zealand, and in the middle of your screen right there, Jimmy Spithill. And he will be running the show for Oracle Team USA, the defenders of the America's Cup. High-tech warfare taking place here in the world of sailing. You are looking at the Challenger, Emirates Team New Zealand. A lot of people have asked, what are those things on the back? Dean Barker jokingly refers to them as the pie warmers. Now, I've yet to see a Twinkie back there being heated up, but they do something a little more technical than that.
Well, affectionately referred to as pie warmers, that's for sure. These are actually asymmetric foils that clean up what's called a wing vortex from the lower wing, where it meets the end plate on the deck. All right. Now, how about for us real people? What does this really mean? It just means it makes the bottom of the wing actually work better. There's lots of accelerated wind that comes off the bottom of the wing that they're trying to capture. And these asymmetric boxes are actually doing that. They're just cleaning up turbulent breeze off the back of the wing and making the wings more efficient.
There is the view from the back of Emirates Team New Zealand, looking back at Oracle Team USA as we go on board. Award-winning coverage throughout the day in both picture and sound. We'll also have animation courtesy of Virtual Eye and, of course, Liveline, bringing you all the lines on the course and showing you exactly where they are here in the San Francisco Bay. So that's the look on board Emirates Team New Zealand. Here are your defenders of the Cup, Oracle Team USA. We've got them covered as well.
At 25 from it. Hey, your fucking passport.
And before we get to the start, let's check in with Gary Jobson down on the water.
Todd, with this wind building like this, both boats have their smallest jib, the forward sail up. So they anticipate it's going to be a very tough race with those small sails. They hope that helps keep the boat under control.
Take a little wing up, guys. 15. That's the speed.
So the port entry comes to New Zealand, which means they get to enter the start box first. A 10-second start. Not really an advantage in the race, but it allows them to decide where they're going to go in positioning. And Ken, we've seen this before. They're late getting there by about 5 seconds.
It's just so hard to judge. It's very easy for us to sit here in the comfort of our chairs and say, wow, they're late. But to go from non-foiling to foiling and to nail it to the split second is not an easy thing to do. Remember, the reason that 10-second jump is allowed is just to avoid really, really potentially dangerous closing speeds between the boats.
We saw this the other day on Thursday. Actually, the two boats playing chicken, and the Americans had to give way, and that's something the organizers do not want to see.
So this is a different tactic. Oracle has waited a long, long time before they've actually jibed to go back towards Emirates Team New Zealand. A huge gap between the boats right now. This is a very different strategy from Oracle.
Interesting strategy playing out on the water. Gary Jobson, do you like what you're seeing, and why do you think Jimmy Spithill's going this route?
Well, I like the way the boats are staying apart, but the game here is to be at the leeward end of the line. That's at the bottom of the screen because that current's sweeping out. You want to be closer to that end.
Less than a minute to go before we release the hounds, and you want to hit that line at perfect zeros. We've seen in the past races, you want to be at the top of the screen and angling down, but today with the current and the way the tide is ebbing, where would you like to be, Ken, at the line?
Well, for sure, the top of the line always will give you a better angle. Let's see where these guys decide to start.
He's still early. Go speed, go speed, go speed.
Jimmy Spithill coming in for a potential last-minute hook. Aggressive move this late in the game.
And race 8 is underway in San Francisco.
Gary, Jimmy Spithill tried to simply do too much, tried to get too cute in that start, just allowed Dean Barker to sit there, block, and hold him off.
Kenny, the patience by Barker really paid off. Too much aggression, bad move by Spithill.
And the consequences, disturbed air off the wing of Emirates Team New Zealand. So the Kiwis will hit mark number 1 first with a sizable lead. Now the question is, can the Americans reel them in on the downwind leg?
I think you just really saw the pressure on Jimmy Spithill just to simply try to do something. Take it as an individual and just try to make something happen. Clearly didn't work.
Speed's almost identical, and it's going to be the Americans that decide to peel off first.
Not only they peel off, but they actually make a poor jibe and slow down quite a bit.
It's just amazing how used to the fact that we've watched, we're just used to the fact that boats going down the bay at 38 knots. Just incredible to watch.
38 knots, 43.7 miles an hour. Kiwis have the lead, and it's growing to nearly 100 meters. Remember, their lead at mark number 1 was 3 seconds over the Americans.
The wind speed out here right now, Todd, is 4 knots under the limit. It's going to be no problem getting this race in.
Okay. Let's stand by the drive here, guys. Whenever you're ready, Jimmy.
Jimmy Spithill at the wheel. Ben Ainsley just off to his right.
Go bottom, go forward.
Boy, these boats are kind of glued to each other, though. There's really not much in it between the two boats right now. Very even.
That's a much better jibe than the one they first pulled off.
Yeah, bottom out at about 30 knots. That's typically a good jibe for these guys at this stage.
So the Americans have actually closed the gap now down to 70 meters. Sweet checking on the water, very rough water indeed, and Gary Jobson.
Well, I'll tell you, I like the way Oracle Team USA is going through that water. It is choppy down where the boats are, a little bit from us right now. They're going well. USA, strong.
And remember, Jimmy Spithill, he made the changes, Kenny, taking out the spine of the bowsprit. Wise call?
Well, they took off the forward end of the bowsprit, which is only there to put up a code 0 or a larger sail on board the boat in lighter breeze. Obviously, they're not expecting lighter breeze today. They're getting rid of every bit of weight and windage they possibly can. There's that stubby little spine right there. What it also does, though, Todd, is it brings the wind instruments. Those are the only wind instruments. That little vane brings them back closer to the boat, which puts them in slightly more disturbed air, so they may get worse wind readings while sailing in this configuration.
Right gate regardless for us, guys.
Right out of the textbook, stay between your opponent and a mark. New Zealand doing exactly what you should do tactically.
And New Zealand still gaining slightly on all these jibes. Just a little bit, not much, but a little bit every jibe.
This is race number 8, day 5 of the 34th America's Cup. The Kiwis have the lead 6 wins to 1. 3 more victories by New Zealand, and they will take away the America's Cup.
Oracle jibing early here. Team New Zealand jibing for the ley line. They're going to try to do one less maneuver. Oracle might be setting up for a split down here and one more jibe. A tough maneuver so late in the run.
Well, if you're Oracle, you definitely want to do the other gate, Ken.
At mark number 2, it's New Zealand out in front. They had a 3-second lead at mark number 1, and that lead has more than doubled now as the Americans do in fact split the course with the Kiwis, and now the all-telling leg number 3 and upwind.
Pretty soft here, about a 22 knot target. They tack. Good pressure, get ahead of it. Yeah, dig into this pressure, Jimmy.
Here you see there's not a lot in it right now with current. There's pretty reasonable current, that outgoing current from side to side. So there's not a whole lot in it. Today, you'll notice we haven't mentioned the dreaded cone behind Alcatraz Island. There's no such thing.
And you see the Americans, as they came out of that last maneuver, they were touching speeds right around 24, 25 knots, which is roughly 27 or 28 miles an hour, 3 or 4 knots faster than the Kiwis.
2, 1, here we go.
Americans have gotten much better at tacking. You notice that weather hull, the hull that's on the high side of the boat, the right-hand side of the boat, has popped out of the water right in the middle of the tack. That's just reducing drag. And clearly, they've learned something from Team New Zealand during the week.
First cross of the match, the Kiwis are clear and away, but it's gotten a little bit closer. Remember, the lead was up to 114 meters. It has now been dropped down to 75 meters.
Not a bad sign for the Americans at this stage. They kept it close on the first set of tacks.
Keep it going. Probably want to see 24, 25. I'll press. Keep going straight. Keep going through. Nothing here. Pretty good. Go through.
Gives you an idea of just how physical these AC-72s are. Team New Zealand with the lead, and the Americans are coming fast.
Gary, the Americans did a nice job creating that split, and all of a sudden they get out of phase going upwind automatically. Really good job being aggressive on that run and getting the split at the gate.
Yeah, Ken, one other thing. The wind is actually coming off the shore when they get close to the San Francisco city front, and they could get a good port lift, making them sail a direct course to the windward mark. So the USA has a real chance to gain right here. And there's the wind shift. They take it right there.
Nice, Tommy.
A lot of chatter on board this boat today, you know, kind of a, you get a feel. Well, first of all, there's more chatter when it's windy because it's just a little more hyped on board the boat. But these guys are into it. They have not gotten demoralized. They are still fully engaged.
And the good news for the American fans, the lead is now down to 53 meters as we see another cross in the middle of the course here on leg number 3.
I tell you, these guys are going to be right alongside by the time the Kiwis come out of this tack. This has been a really good comeback by Americans on their Achilles heel leg.
Not so early, you'll get boundary protection. Good breeze out here. Oh! Keep talking about it, that one. Yeah, I think about another 20 seconds from here, Dino.
So Oracle, Team USA, performs another tack, and they split away from the Kiwis. The question is, can the Americans mount a comeback here on leg 3 in San Francisco? Gary, this is something we have not seen for this entire regatta. The Americans making a charge on leg number 3. This is normally when Dean Barker and the Kiwis distance themselves.
Well, I really like the fact they use the opposite gate. They're out of phase. And this left side of the course where the USA is, the wind's just a little bit more favorable in direction, and the Americans are taking advantage of it. Ben Ainsley, the tactician, is doing a really nice job here.
Have a look at him. He's across, right? Yeah.
anticipated cross does not come about as Dean Barker decides it's a good time to attack. But look at the speed of the Americans, and at this point, the Americans have overtaken the Kiwis.
Well, just by a tad, the Kiwis put themselves in the right position there. It's called a lee bow attack, and you have to be way ahead to actually pull that off. But the fact remains, the Americans, not only aren't they losing on this leg, they're slowly ticking away at the Kiwis, something we absolutely have not seen this entire series on an upwind leg.
Ken, the curious thing to me here is New Zealand knew the Americans are gaining on the left side of the course. Why not switch sides and get over to the south side on the San Francisco waterfront?
Well, here they come. Easier said than done sometimes in these catamarans, but they came back quick this time. I just think the Americans are staying in the middle of the race course, not getting themselves pinned to that left-hand edge like they have in the past. This is a huge moment in this race. This next cross is a big cross.
No, the other thing, Kenny, is that Oracle Team USA is actually sailing through the water faster relative to Emirates Team New Zealand. That's the first time we've seen that on a windward leg.
We could see another hunting move here right now. Starboard tacker could be hunting, but right now Oracle looks like they may. Oh, they popped off their foils there at the last second. Goodness, that was a break they did not have to have.
So it's all about the tacks, and that has been really the Achilles heel of Oracle Team USA, unable to perform it quickly going upwind.
God, they were making gain after gain. Here's a lee bow. It gives them an opportunity. They're getting closer and closer and closer until one small, tiny mistake. It really shows that it's just the tiniest little thing that's going to make or break this race. Doing the right thing here. They tack away. Don't put yourself in a bad spot to get slow. As soon as somebody lee bows you, you tack away.
Well, Ray Davies certainly figured out that the left side of the course was doing well for the USA and now has that advantage. But the great thing here is that when you start catching up like Oracle, your crew gets more excited, and it makes the New Zealand crew a little nervous. Maybe things aren't as good as they thought they were.
One thing is certain, we have not seen this on leg number 3, an extremely close race. The Kiwis right now going through the water very quickly, but only about 20 meters ahead of the Americans as they get set up to hit the next mark. It'll be mark number 3. And remember, this is just a 5-leg race, so 1.5 more legs and this race will be over.
Oracle will now have the starboard tack advantage. Again, they're tacking better, and it just looks like they're going quicker through the water all the time. Their changes have made a difference here, Todd. Bottom line.
He's going pretty well down there.
Keep in mind, on the run, the boats are so even in speed. If Oracle gets ahead at the mark, they could easily hold them off and take the race.
You heard Ray Davies there, Gary, say he's going pretty well down there. I haven't heard that phrase come out of Ray Davies the entire event.
As they come together, Oracle USA has the right of way here on starboard. New Zealand almost capsized.
Oh my
gosh!
Got attack! Keep going, hard back, coming back!
New Zealand had the right of way there.
Goodness. I think not only that, but New Zealand's going to get a penalty on them here right now. They almost flipped this thing over. My goodness, that's incredible.
So the protest filed by the Americans, the Kiwis just happy to have their boat back on the water.
That is a rattled Dean Barker there right now. There's no other way about it. That was an incredible turn of events. And a penalty on New Zealand. Port starboard against New Zealand in the middle of that near fateful flip over.
Well, it's a boat-on-boat penalty, so New Zealand's already behind. The penalty's already gone away. But Oracle waiting to read.
Well, here it is one more time. Kenny, what went wrong for Dean Barker and his crew?
Their wing didn't pop, so their wing is popped the wrong way. It has not actually gone over to the new side until right there. Their wing did not actually tack. It's just amazing. Whether that's a hydraulic failure or a human failure, we're not going to know. But watch, they're on port tack right now. The wing is on port tack, and it never actually pops. It stays on port tack through this whole maneuver. It just acts like a wall instead of a wing, and the windage of that wall almost flipped the boat over.
Here it is on board, maybe the most dramatic footage we have so far. Emirates Team New Zealand puts it up on that left side hole, and it just doesn't come back.
Hydro, hydro, hydro. Keep going, hydro.
Todd, I think you hear hydro, hydro, hydro. That means that they don't have the pressure in the system that is needed to actually maneuver that wing. If the pressure isn't there, the wing won't pop. It's one of the features of this Team New Zealand wing. They didn't have the hydraulics necessary to control it.
At gate number 3, it's the Americans with their biggest lead of the race, almost 200 meters. Jimmy Spithill and company now head back downwind and then head for home, hopefully holding off the Kiwis and picking up a win.
Boys, I'll tell you what. The speed and agility we've seen with Oracle this leg, there's a lot of airplane tickets being changed for Monday and Tuesday right now in San Francisco.
And a rattled Kiwis crew, despite leading 6-1, have to make this rounding very cautiously, and now they'll try to track down the Americans, who are off and running as they make their way to the finish line. So the chase is on. Dean Barker in unfamiliar waters as he is looking at the back end of Oracle Team USA, speeding away and seemingly making all kinds of great maneuvers. And Kenny, I don't know what's more impressive, the fact that Dean Barker had himself in that position or the fact that he saved the boat from capsizing.
Well, I think you see, Gary, even that weather mark rounding right there by Team New Zealand was pretty loose. I think you're seeing a rattled team right now. Todd, these guys got issues. Now they're completely off their foils in the middle of a jibe. These are just mistakes we have not seen from Emirates Team New Zealand.
Going backwards. Go backwards.
And the lead continues to grow for the defenders of the America's Cup. Team USA, 700 meters out in front of the Kiwis on leg 4 of 5. They trail 6-1, and Dean Barker right now is dealing with a very rattled crew in a very unfamiliar position. Here it is one more time, the moment where they almost put it over.
Well, it's tough lee bow. They were close anyway, even in a perfect world. But the hydraulics did not work for some reason, and the wing didn't pop. And when the wing doesn't pop, it goes from an airfoil to a wall, to a break, and it just almost flipped the boat over right in front of our very eyes.
So Oracle Team USA out in front, making fantastic maneuvers. They've made a few small adjustments to the boat, and right now, Jimmy Spithill is gaining confidence by every meter sailed.
Gary, what a momentum change. This is absolutely incredible.
You know, Kenny, I'm just wondering, with New Zealand getting nervous, suddenly Oracle's going fast, closer in every tack. That crew was a little bit rattled. I don't think it was a mechanical error. I think it was a human mistake that happened right there.
And the big question now is, if you're Team New Zealand and you lead 6-2, do you play your provisional card and maybe postpone the second race and say, guys, we just need to take a break? Because the Americans have already played theirs. They are out of cards, but the Kiwis still hold one.
That's a very good question, Todd. I don't think it's in the Kiwi mentality to ever take a break. They're going to want to go back at him. You see a little smile from Dean Barker there right now. I don't think they're going to ever stop because of sailing. They might stop if they have something broken.
Well, the wind right now, Todd, is about 16 knots. It's actually gone down 3 or 4 knots. So they're not going to be able to use the wind to take a break. If there's a mechanical problem, New Zealand does not want to sail the next race. They'll pull the card. No mechanical problem. I agree with Ken. They'll be out here for race 2.
Okay, 30 seconds to a drive.
37 targets. Start the time. Go, boy.
Okay, 15 seconds.
What a huge shift in momentum. Just to bring you up to speed, the Kiwis have 6 wins, 6 points. The Americans just have 1 win, but no points, and that is because they were docked 2 points. So in effect, it's 6 to -1. Now, if the Americans could win 2 races today, Ken, it would make it 6-1 on points, and that would change the dynamic of this thing completely.
Well, I think what we see, the biggest point is you're on Oracle right now. You have hope for the first time in many days. The speed that they showed and their tacking ability upwind, quite simply, is something we just haven't seen before.
No problem. Nice and calm down here, boys. Pressure is.
Aerial view of Oracle Team USA as they continue to speed through the water. New Zealand clocked in with their fastest time, which was 47 knots or 54 miles an hour. And the Americans looking very fast as well, 44.6 knots, which is right around 50 miles an hour as well. All right, Gary, the big question is, are the Kiwis fit to race in the second race today, or are there issues, do you believe, on that boat?
I think there are issues, not only with possibly the wind, but they're having trouble with their port dagger board getting it down. And let's not forget, Grant Dalton wasn't on the boat when they lost the first time. He's not on the boat now. Big mistake.
At mark number 4, it's Oracle Team USA with a huge lead. They trailed after mark 1, they trailed after mark 2, but on the third leg, the Americans turned the tide on the Kiwis, and as New Zealand was almost capsized, the Americans now are putting the hammer down.
Todd, for sailors around the world, or at least in the United States, fans of Oracle, fans of the America's Cup, this is an exceptional turn of events. I think a lot of people just want to see a little more sailing.
And this changes the dynamic so greatly if the Americans can keep this momentum in race number 2 as Emirates Team New Zealand hits the mark, and they now make the turn for home, and they are just happy to have the boat sailing right now, because that's about as close as you can get to a capsize as Oracle Team USA approaching 39 knots or 45 miles an hour. Jimmy Spithill and crew will bring it across the line, and Oracle Team USA will win the first race of the day.
Awesome tax. I like it, Ken.
Todd, you heard Jimmy Spithill right there. Absolutely pinpoint the biggest difference. Awesome tax.
In the wing that pop it, got to be forward or something.
That's why we don't have the wing, the tax. Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
Great clip, mate.
Yeah, nice.
Sorry about that.
Oh, great.
Just thought he was on my time.
That's all right.
Because I had us 50 back.
Hey, that was great.
Jimmy Spithill, Ben Ainsley working out their communications. We'll hopefully get a chat with them, but this is something we have not seen as New Zealand suffers their worst defeat in this regatta as they finally come across the line some 52 seconds behind the Americans. The big question now is Emirates Team New Zealand fit to sail in the second race?
Quotes of the day back there, Todd, on board Oracle, where Jimmy's turning around to Ben just saying, sorry about the start. It was a timing issue. He got super aggressive. He just tried to do too much too late. And Ben Ainsley, being a good psychologist slash tactician, hey, it's all right, mate. No problem. We'll be fine.
Rob Kirby on the right side of your screen, get himself some energy drink, some food as the fans continue to pour down to America's Cup Park. And For one time in a long time, the American flags are out and they've got something to cheer about, as Oracle Team USA's got to feel pretty good about themselves as they take the next 20 to 25 minutes and head back up towards the start.
These guys have been taking a lot of heat over the last several days, and I think just the sound of the cheers is music to their ears at this stage.
Absolutely beautiful day here in San Francisco, and Mother Nature has been kind with the wind. It's holding right around 19 knots, our wind limit closer to 22 knots. So over the course of the next 20 minutes, we'll keep an eye on that. Gary Jobson will continue to feed us reports on what it's doing, and we can hopefully get another race. And now, Ken, if you're the Americans, you most definitely want to race again because you feel like you found a weakness in the Kiwis.
For the first time, they have hope. I mean, that beat was like nothing we have seen, and it shows the vertical learning curve in these boats. They're still learning so much every single day. We've said it before, but we'll say it again. They get better every day. It's the new technology, new concepts, new theories, smart people in the back room figuring it out.
Well, let's go back and look at the moment of the race, and this is where things all changed for Emirates Team New Zealand. The Americans had the right of way, and the race was really 10 meters apart. And as they came together, Ken, you pointed it out, it was maybe a hydraulic situation, but the wing did not pop. And that wing all of a sudden turned into a great big wall. And with the wind blowing almost 20 knots, this is what happens.
When we listened really closely, we heard hydro, hydro, hydro. And the reason they need hydraulic pressure is to actually make that wing pop. The wing does not just hinge on its own in the middle. It has to have hydraulic pressure in order to move. And you see it slowly but surely moving to its proper new tack. Then compound it with you fall off on port tack. You fouled the other guy at the same time. You see the wing is actually the wrong way there. And it just acts like a brake and pushes the boat over. It's amazing that they actually didn't flip the boat over.
I was going to say, how impressed were you with the save by Dean Barker? Here it is one more time. How would you like to be on that one hole over there that's going to be about 25 feet in the air?
Well, all the guys on the bottom hole are still grinding. They're trying to create the hydraulic pressure. They didn't stop grinding, and that's actually that's the moment that saved Emirates Team New Zealand. They didn't stop trying to find their pressure.
Well, we're grateful to be able to send it down to the water now, and where skipper and helmsman Dean Barker, who did a masterful job of putting on a little bit of a show as we go on board one more time and take a look at that video. It was absolutely amazing. Dean, first of all, how are you, and how is the boat for the second race of the day?
Yeah, we're all good. You know, it was a bit disappointing to let a lead go. The Oracle guys started a good race. They chipped away up the beat. I think they sort of got nicely in phase and just sort of got back into us, and we had that one tack, which was just a routine tack, but we didn't get the hydraulic. And you know, in these things, if the wing doesn't tack and the boat does, it's you're going to end up on your lid. And fortunately, you know, we managed to get the hydraulic working pretty much about as late as you possibly could. You know, fortunately, the boat came back up, and there's no collision with the other guys.
Dean, they're showing a little bit of speed, like speed and agility, maybe in their tacking that we haven't seen this whole series.
Yeah, you know, I think when you're in phase and everything's going well, you know, it's you know, there's opportunities to make gains here, and they've stepped up. You know, they always are going to, and you know, it just means that we've just got to keep improving ourselves. So you know, the guys will bounce back well. We'll have a you know a little bit of a regroup here and be ready to go for the second race.
Dean, do you have any problems with the dagger board or the wing mechanically?
No, none at all. No, if we had any issues, you know, we'll do a thorough check as we cruise back up here, and if there's any issues, we've obviously got that postponement card, but right now I think we'll be good to go again.
Dean, thanks for your time. We're glad you're all safe. We'll see you for race number 2.
You will. Yeah, cheers. Thank you.
Dean Barker, the skipper and helmsman for Emirates Team New Zealand, giving us the moment of the regatta so far as they put it up on a huge angle, and because he's so good at what he does, able to bring it back. But the man that wins the first race, Jimmy Spidhill and his crew, Tom Slingsby, Ben Ainsley. Wow, that was one heck of a race. I guess, Jimmy, everyone wants to know, what did you find on leg number 3 that allowed you to turn the table on Emirates Team New Zealand?
Well, the boys just saw the fantastic beat. I mean, we've been putting in a lot of work to try and improve our boat and the tacks and our upwind speed. Our shore team worked all yesterday with the design and engineering team, and I think we've taken a great step forwards.
Jimmy, that was a beat like we haven't seen before, but take us to a moment where you think that another boat is going to not run into you, but fall on top of you. That was pretty dramatic, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I was actually about to duck them and try and hook them, and then, you know, I saw them just keep going, and we just quickly got set up for a crash tack, and I mean, man, I thought they were very, very close to going.
Well, it certainly was a nice race. But Dean Barker's won 2 starts now in a row. What are you going to do different this time, Jimmy?
I'm going to win the start, Gary.
All right.
Jimmy, congratulations on the win. We'll let you get regrouped with the boys. We'll see you for race number 2.
Thank you.
Jimmy Spithill, Oracle Team USA, the defenders of the America's Cup. They pick up their 2nd win of this regatta, but a lot of work still to go as they trail the Kiwis by 6 points. So let's take a look at it one more time. Mark number 2, and Ken, we've talked about this being the kryptonite or the Achilles heel of Oracle Team USA, but this time they're less than 100 meters behind the Kiwis, and they split the course.
Well, this was set up about a third of the way from this mark. They decided to do an extra jibe in order to get a split here. This was absolutely the aggressive move that we've been calling for a while, that we really thought we needed to see. It didn't allow Team New Zealand to get in phase with them right away and control the beat. Really good move by tactician Ben Ainsley and strategist Tom Slingsby.
Here it is on leg number 3 as we are anticipating lots of big crosses, and so far the Kiwis are happy to kind of classic match race with Oracle Team USA.
Yeah, but Oracle's gaining ground here, and this is something that we just simply haven't seen the entire event. They were definitely tacking better. We picked that up the first time they tacked, so they're on to something there, but they're slowly gaining ground. And then comes the near tragedy, something that we've never seen on New Zealand. They are so close to flipping this boat over. They didn't have enough hydraulic pressure. They couldn't pop their wing. Their wing turns into a wall, and it just, all of a sudden, it just pitches the boat over, out of control for the sailors on board.
Dean Barker able to right the ship. They bring it back, but at this point, really the damage was done. They incur a penalty here as they impede the progress of Oracle Team USA. So to make matters worse, once they get it back square, they got to sit in the water for a second, and that's all Jimmy Spithill and his crew need. They just pull away.
If Oracle didn't actually go head to win to stay out of their way, they would have been fallen on. And I've never mentioned the word fallen on in my sailing career. Really, this is why this catamaran, it's never a dull moment out there, that's for sure.
Go attacking, go attack, go attack, go attack. Oh, back, coming back, coming back, come back. What?
Beautiful day here in San Francisco as Emirates Team New Zealand have righted the ship, and they make their way back up towards the start box as they go down in that race to Oracle Team USA, the defenders of the America's Cup. But they lead 6 points to 0, or 6 races to 2. The Americans suffering the 2-point deduction because of infraction during the America's Cup World Series. Here we go. Here's the overview of the downwind legs. And Ken, this is not where the Americans have the problem. This is usually where they excel.
Exactly right. Average speeds nearly identical. Distance sailed a little bit more. Actually, I'm surprised. Oh, that would be because of the second run. The second run, they were clearly out of sorts. The extra jibe. Oracle Team USA, I'm gonna put a punctuation mark right next to that one. This is absolutely the key to the race when they split at that leeward gate. That doing the one extra jibe got them out of sequence.
And as we take a look at Virtual Eye, the animation here that shows you exactly how it was, Mark 1 goes the way of the Kiwis, and the Americans, instead of splitting off immediately, they hang with him momentarily, don't execute the best jibe, and you're thinking, oh no, here we go again, the lead approaching 100 meters.
Well, if you're gonna split, you have to do it late, because what'll happen is, just like the Kiwis are doing here, they'll just stick with you, stick with you. All of a sudden, the Americans jibe in a kind of an awkward spot and force a split right there at the end. That's just a crucial moment in this race.
So as we take a look at the numbers as they head upwind, and this has really been the kryptonite for Oracle Team USA, and these look much better.
Oh, average speed actually higher on Oracle Team USA. Distance sailed lower. That's all you need to know. Those two features right there. The maximum speed, I'm not really sure. I'm not sure why Team New Zealand would be showing 31 knots. That must have been kind of a foiling maneuver for a certain second. Everything here lines up in Oracle's direction. It's just something that we haven't seen this entire regatta.
And Virtual Eye gives you an idea of how it all went down. It'll be interesting to see how Virtual Eye animates a near capsize.
I don't know if they're prepared for that in the back room, but definitely the split coming right away. Team New Zealand decides not to cover. This ebb tide, we talked about it before the race. The ebb tide allows them to play the entire race course, a really key move for Oracle. They don't want to get in those short little tacking sequences, and they play the whole race course. And obviously they get starboard tack advantage. Let's see if the animation has a boat nearly flipping over. I don't think it's going to. Starboard tack advantage for USA. Team New Zealand tacks.
Absolutely.
They get it. Fantastic.
Virtual Eye is all over this, and Jimmy Spittle has to pull away. The penalty comes to New Zealand, and that was pretty much game, set, and match, as it took the Kiwis a while to regroup, and by the time they did, the lead was over 230 meters to the Americans.
If that graphic doesn't win them an Emmy again, I'll be shocked.
So here we go, 6 wins to 2 wins, but more importantly, it's points. So now the Kiwis need 3 wins and the cup is theirs. The Americans, though, need just 9 wins and the cup will remain in the United States. One concept that's key to understanding racing between the AC-72s is apparent wind. There are no spinnakers pulling boats downwind. In effect, everything is upwind.
The deal now with apparent wind is so much more relevant with these boats because they are so fast, and we are creating our own wind. So now we're basically sailing upwind all of the time.
Well, that's what we live and die by. You always have the wind coming towards you. It doesn't matter whether you're going upwind or downwind. If you haven't got it coming towards you, then you're not sailing the boat particularly well.
It changes the whole game completely.
So what is apparent wind? Let's turn to analyst and cup boffin, Tom Schnackenberg.
Apparent wind is the combination of the environmental wind and the wind created by the boat's motion. And it's the vector sum of these two winds. The wind created by the boat's motion is straight on the nose. The environmental wind could be coming from the left, the right, front, or behind. You combine them and you've now got the apparent wind.
Apparent wind even takes sailors a while to grasp. So let's break it down a bit more.
Probably the simplest way to demonstrate it is to take a person who's stopped on a bicycle and he's feeling the environmental wind, what we call the true wind, and then he starts pedaling forward. And as he increases his speed, the forward component is increasing to match his speed. And so the apparent wind, which is a combination of these two, is slowly going forward and increasing. The faster and faster the bicycle goes. And then you have a situation where if it's a very quick bicycle, it seems like the apparent wind is always on the nose. We've measured it on our instruments, and the actual apparent wind angle, which is how much it is off the center line of the yacht, is really only 4 or 5 degrees wider when you're going downwind and when you're going up. Even though the true wind, you're borne away more than 100 degrees.
You're basically always tacking. You tack your way downwind and you tack your way upwind, and if you can maintain that apparent in front of the boat, then you know you're sailing the boat well. And it's quite a weird sensation when you are generating your own wind speed all the time.
The boat in front now has the advantage all of the time when it comes to wind and giving disturbed air to the opposition. Going upwind, they have the advantage, and now downwind, they also have the advantage because of that apparent wind.
Well, are you on the edge of your seat yet? Oracle Team USA was in a must-win situation today, and they came out and just won the last race. Meanwhile, Emirates Team New Zealand almost did the unthinkable. They came closer to capsizing than you ever could in a catamaran. Hi, I'm Tucker Thompson, joined again by Nathan Outteridge, the helmsman of Artemis Racing, and Chris Draper, the helmsman of Luna Rossa Challenge. And guys, what an unbelievable race we just saw. In fact, I think Emirates Team New Zealand is now going to have to carry a roll of toilet paper on board for the rest of this series. But in all seriousness, Nathan, you've been there. You've flipped one of these boats. What was going through your head? What was going through Dean Barker's head and the rest of the crew at that moment?
Yeah, it was obviously a very, very close moment for them, and you can see how hard these teams are pushing it around the race course. And you know, I was looking at Glenn Ashby on the windward side there. He was pretty high in the air, and he was sort of hanging on for dear life. But I thought they did a great job to recover. It was so close to going over here, and it was this moment here where they just were able to save it with a bit of good wing trim, I think.
Chris Draper, how did it happen? Why did it happen?
I think it was a combination of factors, but you see as they rotate into the turn, there's a lot of lift on the leeward foil, so that puts the boat up in the air. The wing also didn't pop, and then there's such a big aero package on Team New Zealand that once they get a tiny bit of heel on, then the wind can get under it and just starts grabbing the boat. So I think that's why it hung up there for so long, but just an insane effort by the guys. So
take a look at the wing. The wing is still on port. The wing is inverted right there. Nathan, that actually starts the flip, right?
Yeah, these guys, every time they attack, they've got to flick a switch to make the wing pop, a hydraulic switch. And as you saw there, the wing didn't pop until basically the boat came back down. And as Chris touched on, the aero package, look at the underside of the boat here. As soon as you get wind underneath that, it's going to blow the boat around a lot. So, you know, these boats are definitely not easy to sail, and they're pushing them pretty hard. And you know, you look at it one more time, and you see how much lift they get on this foil. And then as soon as they get here, it's so puffy and shifty out there today. The wind just gets under the platform, and there's not much they can do from here. It was pretty lucky it came back in the end.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. And Chris, you're a pro, you're a professional sailor. These guys are as well. What I thought was impressive is that both crews, the Oracle Team USA crew, I saw one grinder look over, half a second, he was back to his job, but the Kiwi crew never stopped grinding, kept the hydraulics up, and basically stayed business as usual in a very unusual predicament.
Yeah, they did, but I mean, they looked flustered. Sad to say for them after that. I mean, I can understandably say, you know, their whole campaign there was on the line for just one brief second, and that's super tough. And if there is another race, if the wind holds down, then they're going to have to really regroup.
Well, let's shift over to Oracle Team USA. Give them all the credit they deserve. They won the race in impressive fashion. And they did just about everything right that you could do in a race. Mind you, the start was a little rough, but their speed, upwind and downwind, and their tacking was fantastic, wasn't it?
Yeah, you heard Jimmy say they did make some good improvements on their speed, and you know, you can see one obvious change. They've cut the pole off out the front, so a small gain in aero package there. But I'm pretty sure they've changed the dagger boards on the boat, and I think they're a little more unstable on the downwind, but upwind they're definitely going quicker. They're sailing the boat better, and it's windier. So I think they're a quick boat when it's windy, and they were making gains that whole beat before that incident occurred.
Yeah, the Oracle Team USA kept their heads down in that beat, even in the moment where Emirates Team New Zealand almost flipped. Let's have a look at their reaction on board. There, Jimmy Spithill luffs up to avoid them. Quick look over, and then right back into the match. And that was a penalty to Emirates Team New Zealand as well to add insult to injury.
Quick reactions on board. You saw Kyle Langford, the wing trimmer there, maybe attack, so he sprints straight across to the new wing sheet. So those guys are switched on, and they know how close it is to being on the edge all the time.
So almost a flawless race for Oracle Team USA. They did just what they had to do and got a little bit of help from Emirates Team New Zealand. Their only chink in the armor today was the place where they're the strongest. Jimmy Spithill in the pre-start. Let's take a look. So Chris, talk us through what's going on here and what the objective was.
Yeah, Dean's turned back to the line at the lovely time again, and he's been doing that the last few days. It was an interesting call by Jimmy to go past here and stay upwind of him and then look for the push, but I think they just ran out of time. And it's so difficult with these boats to know how quickly you're going to accelerate, and it's so hard to get a hook. And Dean is proving to have a great defense for anybody trying to come in and hook him in the latter stages of the start, which is exactly what he did here again, and it's doing them proud. And I think with what we'd seen in the previous races, we'd probably expected Dean to sail away after this and Team New Zealand to sail away, but Oracle just sailed a flawless race.
So there's Emirates Team New Zealand on board, winning the start, and we all thought, well, that's it, game over. But they were right into him after the start. And their speed was great downwind and upwind, talking, of course, about the U.S. team, Oracle Team USA.
Yeah, I was impressed. They sat in the wing wash of Emirates Team New Zealand the whole way on that first reach. And they're still only 3 or 4 seconds behind at Mark 1. So, you know, big credit to Jimmy and to Kyle for keeping the boat going as quick as they could on that reach, despite being in bad air. And then Ben Ainsley making a really good call down at the bottom mark. You know, splitting gates gave him a good chance to get back into the race.
Yeah, so on that downwind run, I got to be honest, I was thinking about calling the travel agent, but no. Look at the speed. Oracle Team USA surprised us all, having a piece at the Kiwis and keeping the race alive at the leeward mark. And that was also impressive what they did at the leeward mark with the split, right, Chris?
Yeah, I think that. I mean, I was sat in Club of 72, and the guys that I was sat with, it's so hard to pull off that jibe luff roundup. Like, people were asking me about it just the other day, and it is a really, really hard maneuver to pull, and they did a really impressive job to make that split happen. I mean, they managed to still do a foiling roundup at the bottom mark, and it sent them in a good situation to get a split further up the course. And I mean, we're just seeing them just about to get to the mark here. I was quite surprised that Razor and the Kiwis let them have so much of the left early on in the upwind, which is very powerful for the tide. In that part of the course, we're obviously seeing more ebb today compared to the flood tide that we've seen in the other days. So I think that was a little bit of a surprise, and later on up the upwind leg, it was great to have the right for the Kiwis, but that early stages was a bit of a surprise.
Well, now let's analyze the upwind leg. Even Jimmy Spithill himself said that they were slow upwind and in the tacks, but not the case today, right, Nathan?
No, as Chris said here, I think it was interesting, this split here, and there's no real advantage going behind the cone, but as they go up here, going left here is a big gain for Oracle current-wise. And even though they're coming back together on port each time, the Kiwis kept defending nicely. And then as we get up the beat a little bit further, one of these crosses, Jimmy gets out to the right-hand side, and it's interesting how much quicker that boat's going today. You know, you see him sitting 25, 26 upwind a lot.
So good on them upwind for Oracle Team USA to keep the game close enough, then the almost capsize. And let's be honest, that's 2 major issues for the Kiwi team. Remember race 1 of the Louis Vuitton Cup finals, they did a huge nosedive sailing against you, Chris Draper, and that was dramatic as well. So they've almost bricked this boat up twice in the regatta. If something like this happens again, it could mean the end of Emirates Team New Zealand for the America's Cup, right?
Yeah, that would have flustered them for sure. But those guys, I mean, I remember going out watching them on day 5. They were sailing in 28 to 30 knots of breeze over in Auckland, and they're more than capable of sailing the boat very hard in this stuff. But we know Oracle are as well, and they've spent so much time here, they feel very, very comfortable sailing in the bay, and it is a very different place to sail to anywhere. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens next race.
So it's moving day for Oracle Team USA. They just won their first race. Now, can they do it again? The America's Cup is waiting in the wings.
The 1992 America's Cup featured 2 strong defense teams, one led by veteran Dennis Conner and the other by newcomer Bill Koch. Koch was a strong believer in using advanced technology to create a fast boat. He built 4 new boats in his quest to defeat Conner and meet the eventual challenger. The challenger trials for the Louis Vuitton Cup were equally feisty. The finalists from New Zealand and Italy had a no-holds-barred battle. Challengers from France, Sweden, Australia, Italy, Spain, and Japan battled for months off San Diego. The racing was incredibly close in the new America's Cup class yachts. In the end, Mauro de Venezia won the Louis Vuitton Cup, led by American helmsman Paul Kayard. On the defense side, Stars and Stripes struggled. Connor's mast went over the side, and the team never seemed to recover. Olympic gold medalist Buddy Melges was the primary helmsman of Bill Koch's America Cube. In the America's Cup match, America Cube had a clear speed advantage over the Italians. Mauro did win 1 race over America Cube in the best of 9 final. Kayard was brilliant in that race. America Cube made a good comeback, but lost the thriller by just 2 seconds. After that moment, America Cube simply used its boat speed to sail away. Moro's owner, Raul Gardini, was disappointed. America Q went on to win 5 races to 1. Crossing the finish line, Melgas and Koch playfully fight over the helm. Koch's quest to show that his advanced technology worked was successful. Winning the America's Cup was the highlight of Bill Koch's sailing career.
And there's a shot of the San Francisco Bay as we wait patiently for race number 2 to get away today. We're hearing word that the wind is picking up down there, and we are now being pushed back to 14 minutes away from the start. So we'll see how that plays out. We check in on the water on regardless and see what Gary Jobson can tell us.
Well, Todd, we are counting down. The wind's okay right now. It's about a knot and a half limit, and the ebb is slowing down, so that means the wind limit will be a little bit higher. I think we're going to have a race.
All right, good to know. We'll count on that, Gary, as we are 14 minutes, less than 14 minutes now away. Coming straight off a victory for Oracle Team USA, anxious to get back out there. And there's the current that Gary's talking about. The smaller arrows mean it's less of a strong current.
Well, something that's traditional on San Francisco Bay that's a very big effect is really almost no effect in this race, Todd. So look for a much more even race course. And again, as we've said before, better for Oracle.
Here's the course one more time. It's called the Blast Reach. You hit that mark, you head downwind, and then, Kenny, this is really where the race turned. It's here on leg number 3.
An extraordinary change of events. Something that we just haven't seen before was actually a gain by Oracle on the beat. They inevitably passed them, and off we go. We got a regatta again, Todd.
And there is Emirates Team New Zealand, the challenger here at the 34th America's Cup. Oracle Team USA are the defenders, and there is Grant Dalton, known as Dalt's, 56 years of age, and it's kind of a no-brainer because every race they've lost, which are 2, he has not been on the boat. So I don't need an abacus to figure this out, but I would say you want him on the boat if you want to win the race.
It's superstition as much as anything, and trust me, sailors in general are superstitious, and this I was actually really surprised this morning that he wasn't on board the boat. But here he is back on again, and look for these guys to reverse the trend as to what happened this morning.
So Grant Dalton doing the heavy work. He is not on there just as his general manager position. He has to, as he said before, earn his way in the boat, and he's doing just that. This guy is an accomplished sailor, and man, a grinder at 56 as we go on board with Oracle Team USA. Now they are loaded with young, strong young men, guys like Rome Kirby, who you sailed around the world with.
Well, they knew going into their lay day yesterday that learning how to tack and getting the boat faster was just simply paramount to their success. Sure enough, they did it. A lot of little things, I believe, I've been told, nothing major, but that's why you have all these designers and engineers in the back room all the time trying to come up with new reasons, new ways to make your boat faster. That's what every sailor just always wants to hear. Hey, it's going to be better if we do this.
So Oracle Team USA trying to stay loose, trying to put back-to-back wins together today here on day 5 of the 34th America's Cup.
Two lengths underneath, but I was online. They were saying like minus.
Calculations being done as the tenders or the chase boats for Oracle Team USA come on board, and an opportunity to make minor fixes or changes. But if you're the skipper, Jimmy Spithill, do you want them even touching the boat?
That was a very interesting conversation. They were talking to their coach, and he's talking about the instrumentation, saying when he's early or late, whether he's at leyline or not. It could easily be because they move the instruments back from the bow. They cut that bowsprit off, move their instruments back, boy, it must be 15, 20 feet. It's in a different flow now. It could be giving them different, wrong information.
There's the view on board the defenders of the Cup, Oracle Team USA. Get you an idea of just how choppy it is out there, and this is the opposite view on Emirates Team New Zealand. We'll see how they recover. Normally, Kiwis as a people are pretty calm, cool, and collected, but I tell you what, when you heel a boat over like that and almost capsize it, that'll rattle just about anyone.
But there's no doubt, I mean, Dean Barker, the one when we interviewed him at the end of the race, he still looked pretty cool to me. You know, the mindset of these guys, they're tough. They've been doing this for a long time. They've been in worse spots than that, I guarantee you. And sure enough, here we are ready to battle again. They didn't even hesitate to do the race this afternoon, so that's a good sign.
Beautiful Golden Gate Bridge here in San Francisco, and the current is almost to the point where it's not even a factor here, but right now the wind is a factor. We've had peaks as high as 22.9 miles an hour, which is close to 26.5 miles an hour. That was knots per hour, excuse me, on the 22.9. And we need to stay below 23. Where the current will help us out, Kenny, is it's not going to be as strong as we saw in the first race.
It's not a good sign. Not a good sign to see all those guys gathering around the wind instruments, though. They're willing it down.
The countdown is on for race number 2 here on day number 5 of the 34th America's Cup, as the committee officials continue to look at the instrumentation. We've had winds gusting as high as 22.9 knots, which translates to around 26.5 miles an hour, and that would take us over the limit. So the clock is ticking down, and if we can stay under that peak, Kenny, we're in a good situation. But here's your average wind speed, and those breaks in there show us when they peaked out.
That's right. That one little blip, that's all we need. But it's trying to trend in the right direction, and the change in the current, the change in the flow of the current, slowing down, the ebb current slowing down, will actually help our wind speed. So it's gonna artificially lower our wind speed. Let's put it that way. 13 minutes. Let's all hope.
So as the wind continues to blow, we try to figure out exactly when this next race will happen. Right now, we are on schedule to kick things off in under 13 minutes, and that gives us an opportunity to give you a little more of an education in the world of sailing. We know the game and who has the right of way.
When boats are on the open race course, there are a few major rules that help determine who is right away and who has to keep clear. If boats are going in the same direction, there are 2 basic rules. 1, if they are not overlapped, the boat clear ahead has the right of way of the boat that's clear astern. If they are overlapped, then the leeward boat, or the boat that is downwind of the other boat, has right of way. If they are not heading in the same direction, when the wind is coming over the right-hand side of the boat, they're on starboard tack. And if the wind is coming over the left-hand side of the boat, it is on port tack. And when the 2 boats converge, the starboard tack boat has right of way. Knowing the game means understanding the rules, an integral part of sailboat racing at any level.
Well, the wind continues to blow, and unfortunately in San Francisco, as it continues to blow, it usually builds in the afternoon, and that's kind of the problem we're facing right now. It's roughly 2:15 in the afternoon here in San Francisco, and decisions being made, as Ken pointed out. Anytime that wind limit goes over, they start the clock again at 15, and it is still on track at 11:20 for us to get the second race in as we check in on Regardless. That's where Gary Jobson's standing by. Jabba, what can you tell us?
Well, I'm on the bridge here with Ian Murray and John Craig, and it's right at the upper limit now. It's like a big gust came through here, and they're hoping that it'll now dissipate and die down. And with that ebb slowing down, we might be able to get a race in. But right now, it's right at that limit.
Gary, is there any way you can go out there and stand in front of the instrumentation just to give us that half mile an hour?
Well, I've told John Craig many times I'd love to hold the tape measure, and but anyway, it doesn't work that way. It's all instruments. And right now we're right at the edge, and we'll see here in a few minutes.
Well, I can't imagine anyone that wants to sail more than the crew of Oracle Team USA, coming off that tremendous performance that we just saw in race 8 where they pick up the victory. Those boys look like they're ready to go. I don't know if the Kiwis really care, but if you know a Kiwi, they probably want to get out there and just get this race behind them. They got Grant Dalton on board, the Lucky Charm.
The Lucky Charm, exactly right. I don't think he wants to be referred to as the Lucky Charm, first of all, but Larry Ellison's happy for the first time. I think that's him in the middle with the white hat on. We can't go. There we go. Larry's got a smile on his face today, Todd. So that's a good sign. He hasn't had much to smile about this event so far.
You know, Ken, you wonder who's got more pressure on them. I think more pressure right now is on Team New Zealand, because if the USA gets 2 wins in a row, they're going to start rethinking everything, and that's when you start making mistakes.
Oh, I agree. It was very clear to me that the USA team was really loose this morning. Honestly, Gary, they have nothing to lose at this stage. The world expects them to lose, so that's kind of when you sail your best sometime. In athletics, that's kind of when you perform your best with very little pressure on you.
I mean, when you talk to Jim Spittle, hey, you've lost 2 starts in a row. What are you going to do about it? It was kind of fun, loose. We're going to win the start. That's the kind of attitude you want to see.
That's exactly what he's going to need if we do, in fact, get this second race. It would be race number 9 of the series. The Kiwis needing just 3 more wins to take away the America's Cup. The Americans needing 10. Now, the good news is, as you watch that clock, it continues to count down from 9 as we get ready to go under 9 minutes, Ken. The minute that jumps up to 15, that means the wind has peaked once again, and that'll give us problems.
And it's an average over 30 seconds, so the wind has to be above the wind limit for over 30 seconds for it to kind of click the scale, to tick it off, and to start it at 15 minutes again. So these guys are at least smiling up there. That's a good sign.
Well, just to play it out for you, here's a situation. The Kiwis can win the America's Cup tomorrow if, and this is a big if they win a race today and if they win both races tomorrow. If the Americans get this second race and it does in fact go off, that will push the Kiwis into next week, and they would not be able to get the Cup until Tuesday, which allows the Americans to do more engineering on their boat, more practice time, and they could push this thing for another 5 or 6 days.
Don't give good sailors and smart people any more time. That we've seen the fantastic improvement that Oracle has made to their boat. Hey, also give credit where credit is due. Ben Ainsley sailed a really solid race. Tactically, they got out of sync when they had to. They did a really nice job in that race.
And there is Ben Ainsley on the right-hand side of your screen talking with helmsman Jimmy Spithill. And just worth pointing out, he's a 4-time Olympic gold medalist, has 1 silver as well, does Ben Ainsley. And he's usually used to having his hands on the tiller and not calling races for another man.
Up on the bridge there, the man with the red hat and the gray top, that's Ian Murray. He's the race director. To the right is Harold Bennett, and in the chair there is John Craig. John's the principal race officer. He's the man with the decisions.
So sending good vibes out to John Craig and Ian Murray, hoping that they're and Mother Nature are feeling generous that we can see another race. Ken, I think I speak for most of the people that have made their way to America's Cup Park. They want to see another race. Fresh off the heels of seeing the Defender with a great performance. And the near capsize doesn't hurt, but everyone's safe and sound. But these people, they want to see another race.
I don't know. Do you people out there want to see another race?
I want to see another race, that's for sure.
Well, at least they're paying attention. That's a good sign.
The thousands of fans that have made their way to America's Cup Park to cheer it on as the clock continues to come down. Now just 6:37 away from race number 2 here in San Francisco. Well, if you wouldn't know better, you think it would be an absolute perfect day to go sailing as you see all the boats that have made their way to the San Francisco Bay, the Weekend Warriors, and there's a few boats out there that I wouldn't say are dinghies, but for the 2 principals here at the 34th America's Cup, Ken, are these ideal conditions?
They are absolutely ideal conditions. But remember, this was done for safety reasons. It was the Artemis Andrew Simpson tragedy that brought lower wind limits to this event. These were the safety issues that all the teams said okay to, so they got to live by the rules that they've decided to have.
Oracle Team USA, Jimmy Spithill on the top left at the wheel. The rest of the crew ready to go, and if body language is anything, boy, these kids look like they are ready to jump. Wind limits are always an issue. The Coast Guard has gotten involved as well. Gary Jobson, how are we looking out there on Regardless?
Well, right now, Todd, we're looking really good. I think we're going to get a race if the wind doesn't come anymore, which it's not. The thing is, it's a 30-second average before the start. Once the start goes, then it's a 5-minute average. They could actually call the race off until they round the windward gate, and then it's all the way down to the finish. Right now, it's looking good.
5, 4, 3, 2,
And that is a welcome sight to sailors and fans alike as the 5-minute flag has been unfurled. So it looks like we are set to go racing. But I'll tell you what, if those flags in the wind don't illustrate just how hard it is blowing, that's impressive stuff.
Please, 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 let's do this second race, because this is San Francisco. You read the tourism brochure, and this is a classic San Francisco day. Great sea breeze, sunny, chilly, always chilly here in San Francisco, but this is what you came to San Francisco Bay to do.
The thing is, it is a bit patchy and shifty and by
With the Marin Headlands in the distance and the Golden Gate Bridge, it is now almost 4 minutes away, and it looks like we are going racing. Race number 2 will take place today here in San Francisco. It's day 5 of the 34th America's Cup. The defenders, Oracle Team USA, fresh off a victory in race number 8, looking to get back on the track and put another one on the Kiwis. And the Kiwis, after a near capsize, looking to right the ship. Gary Jobson, Ken Reed, Todd Harris with you. Glad to have you, as well as the tens of thousands of folks who have made their way down to beautiful America's Cup Park.
Question of the moment, Todd, is has momentum changed? Where is these guys' minds right now? Are they thinking about the capsize? Are they thinking about the fact that Oracle has jets upwind all of a sudden? We're about to find out.
75 through here.
And Gary, as experienced as these sailors are, especially with Emirates Team New Zealand, does Dean Barker need to sit down with them and calm them and just say, hey guys, we just went on a little Mr. Toad's wild ride. It's no big deal, or as they would say, no worries?
Well, I think the man that's going to calm him down is Grant Dalton. He was missing. He's the elder statesman on the boat. Having him back on board has got to be an asset.
2:45 to go. Oracle Team USA getting themselves into position.
Get 'em, boys. At 18 off. On the box.
2:30 to go. Now remember, Emirates Team New Zealand will have port entry, which means they get to enter the start blocks 10 seconds before the Americans. And the Kiwis are in.
They will cross ahead, well ahead of Oracle. Oracle really used a very different strategy than any other start we've seen during this whole America's Cup event. Let's see if they go back to more traditional pusher blocker strategy against Emirates Team New Zealand.
Sailing.
90 seconds to the start.
Yep. All the way. Midline sailing here.
All right, Gary, is this playing out to what we saw earlier in the first race of the day?
Well, certainly there's no advantage to either end of the starting line right now. And New Zealand, they just want to stay away from the other boat. Look for Oracle to attack and try and get a hook underneath as they approach the line.
Well, right now they're looking for a gap between the two boats. Oracle's looking to gap off and possibly just go for the weather end of this starting line, because Team New Zealand has set themselves up pretty low or to the left towards us on the starting line. I think Jimmy Spithill stays up there at this stage. Just like that, Gary, proving that you were right and I was wrong, they go for a hook.
Both boats are about 15 seconds early.
So Spithill tries to get underneath Dean Barker and the Kiwis to try to gain advantage, can't get it done.
Dean Barker is doing a really nice job again of protecting that bottom lay line. He might have that jump yet again.
10 seconds to the start. race 2, day number 5 is underway.
Dean Barker again protected the left side of the line perfectly in that start. Another really good start for Emirates Team New Zealand.
The disturbed air not a factor coming off the wing of Oracle Team USA, because the Kiwis have the lead. And at mark number 1, it will be New Zealand grabbing the whole shot as they head downwind.
Todd, I really like that tactic there of New Zealand sailing high, going into the mark, and a slow bear away. That gave him an extra 2 boat lengths.
He's got guys going to leeward.
An identical lead as in race number 1 of the day. 3 seconds advantage Kiwis.
I think they just proved to us, Todd, that if there's any sign of rattle on these guys, there was nothing there in that pre-start, that's for sure. That was another terrific job of blocking by Dean Barker in that start.
Let's build, Carl, let's build. Really normal numbers.
37 knots, 42.5 miles an hour. Similar lead on this second leg, and this is playing out awfully close to what we saw earlier in race number 8, the first race of the day.
Trim pressure. Good load too. 40 seconds this way.
New Zealand having trouble staying on its foil, and Oracle's sailing right past.
Nice blow ahead.
I guess the question I'd have for you, Kenny, is the choppy water and the white caps we're seeing, does that make it harder to foil?
It really shouldn't, because it shouldn't have any difference at all. The foils are living below the water surface, therefore they don't really know that there are waves out there at this stage. Upwind for sure when the hulls are in the water. Here's a classic match racing jibe, just like Gary says, stay between your man and the mark, and that's what Team New Zealand has done, literally blocking directly Oracle Team USA.
Oracle's gained almost 2 boat lengths, and the reason, they're doing a better job staying on their foil. As I look at the 2 helmsmen, I notice Barker's moving his wheel back and forth a lot more than Spithill.
Good if we can, eh? No, just keep doing what we're doing. It makes it hard for him to get right.
Todd, what Emirates Team New Zealand will be thinking about is how not to have a split at this bottom mark. They want to try to get Oracle to round the same bottom mark as they do. Oracle, on the other hand, is looking to shake them at the last minute and get that split.
Well, the advantage, yeah, I was going to say, Todd, the advantage there is the Oracle. They can decide to split at the last second and be out of phase.
Speed certainly a factor as they head downwind. The Americans checking in at 58 miles an hour. Dean Barker, the skipper, number 14. Number 10 is Ray Davies, his tactician.
If the Kiwis can make it through this gate from here, that actually might create the split that Oracle's looking for. You would think it's a good thing right now, but Oracle might have the opportunity to split away at the last second if the Kiwis commit themselves to a thin ley line.
AC Liveline telling us it's a 65-meter lead for New Zealand.
What do you think, Nino?
With so little current, it won't matter what part of the course they go on for current. However, the wind, in my view, is better along the city front.
Okay. Watch the overlap, yeah, no problem.
This is a tough maneuver, though. If USA decides to split to the other side, the right side gate, it's a really hard maneuver to physically pull off on the boat.
They don't have a choice, Ken. They have to make this maneuver.
At gate number 2, the Kiwis have the lead, and we do have, in fact, a split on the course as the Americans come around, and they will be behind by 7 seconds. But the big question is, can they make gains once again on leg number 3? And we're now hearing word that the race is going to be abandoned.
Oh, this is horrible, not just for us, but for the sailors. If you're on Team New Zealand right now, this is devastating.
Yeah, stand by tack. Keep going, just in case. There we go, bit of a lefty here.
Emirates Team New Zealand, Emirates Team New Zealand. Race committee, do you copy?
Todd, you're Team New Zealand right now. You have that thing on ignore. You're just hoping you don't hear what you're hearing because you're ahead. I don't think they hear him.
Emirates Team New Zealand, Emirates Team New Zealand. Race committee, do you copy?
Crossing by 2.
They don't hear him, Todd. Not that it really makes a difference.
Emirates Chase, do you copy? Over.
Nice mode here.
Copy it out. You got the message. We've hit the wind limit and we've had to terminate the race. Over. I'll speak to them on the comms now.
For the first time in this entire event, we've seen a wind limit take over and actually abandon a race in the middle of it. What a shame. Looks like they're sailing pretty well with me.
So officially, the race has been terminated. Race number 9 has been terminated here in San Francisco. The wind limits were reached just prior to mark number 2, and so the race has to be abandoned.
I think both competitors know that, and they just want to see how they're going. There's Harold Bennett on the bow.
Yeah, race got terminated. So we still have the block.
So do what you can to assist the teams to get back to their bases. Over.
When we turned up again with these, I felt like he was pretty strong, man. I just felt like when I came down for the hawk, he got down to my angle. I was worried if I stayed there, he wouldn't have been able to make it.
Absolute frustration. We're talking less than a knot. Terminated the race.
Well, especially if you're the Kiwis. It's always worse. It's always worse if there's a problem with a race and it's blown off like this if you're ahead, obviously.
Race committee, Emirates Team New Zealand, you copy?
Roger, go ahead.
Yeah, race committee. So are you confirming that's it for the day? Over.
That's correct, over. You
copy. Yeah, that's it for the day.
So not the way anyone wanted the day to end, as the race committee steps in and calls it off because of high winds.
Really, Mother Nature called it off, Todd. The race committee doesn't have a choice. The way the rules are written, if the wind limit average gets up above whatever the set average, I think it was 23 knots or something for this race, if it gets up for an over 5-minute period, they are mandated. They shall do it. They can't, there's no question. They have to abandon the race. Really unfortunate, especially for the Kiwis.
Yeah, Kenny, it was 22.6 was the wind limit, and it was just a couple tenths above it, but it stayed there for more than 5 minutes, and that's why they abandoned the race.
Trying to spin it forward, Gary Jobson, is there any way if the wind died down that they could get a race in today, or is it past the 2:30 mark and so they have to shut the whole thing down?
Yeah, under the sailing instructions, you can't start a race after 2:30 local time here on the Pacific Coast, so we will not have another race today.
So, Kenny, who does this favor? Obviously, everyone wanted to race, and the Kiwis had the lead here in race number 9, but both boats now make the big U-turn, and they will head back to their docks. Who's in the better position right now, the Americans or the Kiwis?
The Americans, by far. They may have just been saved. Let's put it that way. They were behind in this race. Don't forget that. But the fact that the Americans came out and ground down the Kiwis upwind for the first time ever, they're going to go into their base tonight thinking, you guys, we could do this thing. We could win this event.
So there is the scene at the end of day number 5 of racing. Just one race officially completed, and the Americans win the day. But Again, the frustration has to be mounting for both squads as they wanted to get out there and race and see what they have. They will try to do it all again tomorrow. 2 more races, which will be scheduled for races 9 and 10, with the Kiwis needing 3 wins and the Americans still needing at least 10. Oracle Team USA doing a little bit of a buzz in the tower for the fans that came out.
My goodness, a half boat length flyby to 3,000 people on the end of the dock on foils going 40 knots. Besides that, they're just normal boats.
So Oracle Team USA will make their way down south back to their home base. A lot of good feelings as they get the only win today of the one race that was completed. Race number 9 abandoned because of high wind. Emirates Team New Zealand will go back, and I'm sure they will check over everything after the near capsize and make sure that it happens. Oracle Team USA making their way back to their dock alongside Kenny Reed, Gary Jobson. I'm Todd Harris. Race number 2 on the day has been called because of wind limits. And Ken, I guess for the folks at home that want to see racing and that want to see big wins, they're probably saying, let's raise those wind limits. One man that might have an opinion is Ray Davies, the tactician. And Ray, hold on to something there, because it looks like Dino's got you guys traveling pretty quick. Your thoughts on the wind limit, and were you guys hoping to get this race completed?
Absolutely, hoping to get that one completed. We're in pretty good shape in that one, and yeah, it would have been nice to have wrapped that one up. Still a long way to go. We're in a similar position in the first race, and it all changed for us, but it felt like we had the boat going pretty nicely up that beat there, and it's going to be interesting to really go through the numbers at the end of the day.
Ray, we appreciate your time. A safe travel back to the dock, and we'll hopefully see you back here tomorrow.
Okay, copy that.
Ray Davies holding on for dear life as they continue to make their way back. Emirates Team New Zealand looking to get back on the board. And unfortunate turn of events, but as Ken pointed out, Mother Nature has the final say on the day. The defenders of the Cup, Oracle Team USA, make their way back as well. Jimmy Spithill at the helm, and his tactician, Ben Ainsley, joining us, the 4-time Olympic gold medalist. Ben, a lot of momentum after that big race in race number 8. How excited were you guys to get back on the water and race in race number 9?
Yeah, that was a huge race for us. For us, it changed the momentum of the event. We were looking forward to that race. It was shaping up to be a good one. We got the split at the bottom, and I think it would have been another very close beat up there.
Hey, Ben, really nice job in that first race. Congratulations. So what does that say to your design team? Obviously, you tried a bunch of new things today. Is there more in the basket? Is there more to be found, boat speed-wise, especially upwind?
Yeah, sorry, it's a little bit hard to hear you going along at 40 knots here. I don't know why Jimmy just bore away. But I think you're asking about the design, and yeah, I mean, there's still things we can change. I mean, we made some changes for today, and that definitely ups our performance. I think that's the nature of this particular America's Cup. It really is a development race. And so we'll keep pushing to try and improve the performance all the time.
Ben, congratulations. We'll let you get safely back there because Jimmy's feeling pretty good about himself today, so he might put the hammer down.
Cheers.
Ben Ainsley joining us, the tactician for Oracle Team USA, as they make their way back to the docks. Wind limits calling the day as Mother Nature shuts things down. Our wind limit goes over the top, and so they have to shut it down. Here it is, though. And this was the race that we thought we might have on mark number 2.
Well, it's really amazing. The one thing we thought we knew was Jimmy Spithill was actually getting the better of these starts and had his time and distance better. He loses 2 starts today. The other thing we thought we knew was that Emirates Team New Zealand was quicker upwind. Everything was upside down today.
At the start, though, Emirates Team New Zealand does get the win, and they get to the gate first. They make mark number 1, and they make it look easy, but it's deja vu all over again as the Americans only trail by 3 seconds.
Good, classic match racing tactics here. They really jibed. They really tried to get in sync with USA for that whole entire leg.
Classic match racing action. Dean Barker just covering on Jimmy Spithill, but this may have played into the hands of Spithill because he got the split he was looking for when they got to gate number 2.
They did. It was almost bad luck that Team New Zealand was actually able to gap off to lure to actually sail a slightly lower angle and make the mark, whereas we're going to see Oracle couldn't. This forces that beautiful split that we see is really helping the guy behind when it comes to upwind tactics. This split is really critical. And here we go. We see this split. We think we're going to see a fantastic race at this stage.
And the word comes down for the committee boat. The race has been terminated. Took a while to get it to both Oracle Team USA and Emirates Team New Zealand. They were just sailing on, Ken. I think they just put the boat on mute. And finally, the message reaches both boats, and they are shutting it down for the day as Mother Nature, just too much wind coming out from under the Golden Gate Bridge. Safety, and we call it off.
It is a rule. It's a rule, unfortunately, that has no leeway to it. It's either on or off, and in this case, the race was off.
Absolutely fantastic day here in San Francisco, but unfortunately too much wind, and race number 9 is terminated. Well, the fans, despite the second race being terminated, they're going to stick around for a while because it is an absolutely spectacular day here in San Francisco. Temperature just about right, but just a little too much wind. But even though there's no racing, no reason why you can't stick around and enjoy the beautiful scenery that is the city by the bay.
Welcome back to America's Cup Park here in San Francisco. Once again, I'm Tucker Thompson, joined by Nathan Outteridge and Chris Draper. And, you know, the second race being canceled today is a tough break for all of us, but you should have seen the crowd here at America's Cup Park when Emirates Team New Zealand almost capsized. A collective gasp you could hear, probably with everybody watching around the world. It was quite unbelievable. What were you guys thinking when you were watching that?
My heart just stopped for about 5 minutes. I couldn't believe how close it was. And, you know, they've looked so strong throughout the event, and one little error like that could have cost them the whole campaign. So, you know, been a very interesting day down here.
So very lucky Emirates Team New Zealand was, and very aggressive for Jimmy Spithill and Oracle Team USA in both starts. Let's take a look now at the start of race number 2. So Chris, just set us up here with what's going on, particularly timing-wise.
Yeah. Oracle were pushing super hard to try and get a hook, and they were doing a very, very good job. But Dean did an awesome couple of roundups where he managed to defend and then round up really, really nicely to close the gauge back up on Jimmy here, giving him very little time to get a differential and manage to hook Team New Zealand. So again, Dean did a fantastic job. Team New Zealand sailed their boat lovely in the pre-start, and they managed to protect that pin lay very well. And despite being to leeward and a bit closer to the line, they were equal on speed and held a lovely lane there to the first mark.
I love how the British accent can describe something as lovely when it's as aggressive as this is. You guys make it sound so simple and so easy. But anyway, the pre-start a little bit rough, but Oracle Team USA was right back in them again. I mean, this is a new American team, isn't it?
It is. They've made a few mods to their boat, and clearly it made a difference today. And seriously impressive how close these boats were to hold downwind. They're doing 40 knots the whole way downwind within 2 lengths of each other, and clearly got a lot of confidence in the other boat, because if there's a little error on any boat, especially the lead boat, then the second boat's got to really make a big decision to not run into them. So really, really good racing.
Yeah, they were definitely pushing the envelope right to the limit. Let's take a look at these 2 boats downwind. They were nothing in it between the 2 of them. The pedal was all the way down. And Chris, you were telling me before that we went on how impressed you were with both of the helmsmen.
Yeah, both of the teams. I mean, it's impossible to get across how on the edge these boats are. Once you start hitting 40 knots of breeze, of boat hull speed downwind, you're just really on the edge of control. And to see them foil to foil jibing right in front of one another, literally with a boat length in between them, just insane level of sailing. And hats off to the guys. They're just incredible what they're doing with the boats in these races.
So we've said time and time again, it's a new Oracle Team USA today for sure in both matches. This one was canceled, but you wouldn't know it by watching it. Breeze pushing the upper edge of the limits in these boats, pushing their upper edge of boat speed for sure. Boat handling phenomenal. How do you think the Oracle Team USA has regrouped to be able to be so fast and strong downwind and upwind?
I guess they've just, taken their day off, and they didn't sail. Yesterday was probably one of the first days they haven't sailed in a long time. And that gave them a chance just to probably think a bit more about what they're doing, do some mods to the boat. And they've been making really good decisions. I like how Ben keeps making good tactical calls, trying to get a split at the bottom mark here. And look how close they are the whole way down that run, neck and neck, and he was just trying to put the boat in a position to get a split at the bottom. And I think that's been a good addition to the team.
Now, tactically, this is the first time we've seen a chink in Emirates Team New Zealand's armor. Let's go back to that first race, the upwind leg, for a second, Chris. Couple mistakes by Ray Davies there, a little bit out of phase with the Americans?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, I think it was quite a different tidal situation because the currents was ebbing today. It opens up the racetrack much more. The bottom half of the course, you really can go anywhere. And in the other races, it's all been about the tidal cone, which makes it very one-dimensional and very hard for boats to attack. But today, like Nathan said, I mean, you can see the communication building between the afterguard on Oracle, but Razor and Dean are still doing an incredible job. And it was impressive how well Oracle sailed upwind today. I think their boat definitely prefers the breeze. And it'll be interesting to see. I mean, tomorrow we've got a very similar forecast and an even stronger ebb for the first race.
Now, what do you think we're going to see tomorrow? We know we're going to go into Tuesday with this America's Cup, possibly longer. Breeze back up again tomorrow, Nathan?
Yeah, looking at the forecast, it's pretty similar to today. It's good typical San Francisco conditions here, and the ebb's going to be in again tomorrow. So we're probably going to see some windy races, and unfortunately, it's going to be close to the wind limit again.
So if we are close to the wind limit, will Emirates Team New Zealand be close to their limit? We've now seen it twice in this regatta. The capsize, or almost the capsize today, and a nosedive about a month ago, which was dramatic. It went all around the world. People still watching it. Here we go again. It's still impressive to watch.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing how quickly that they recovered from that. And, just maneuvers like that throughout your sailing or your event can really rally you a bit. But it's been super impressive to see how well they dealt with that kind of maneuver. And, I'm sure they'll watch that every now and then and remind themselves not to make mistakes like that. And that tack from earlier today is just another big learning curve. These guys are on serious learning curves as much as anyone else out there sailing.
Chris, how lucky are they that they didn't pitch pole here and that they didn't capsize today? 2 near misses.
Team New Zealand wouldn't be leading the series 6-0 if they weren't pushing the boat super hard, and that's what they're doing. And there's consequences to that. Like I said a minute ago, the boats are so on the edge of control, and the rudders are so close to ventilating. I mean, the main reason why they pitched pole, why they had that nosedive there was just because they're carrying so much lift on their elevators, the foils that help lift the back of the boat up. And if they didn't have all that lift on there, then they wouldn't be going so fast upwind. So they're right on the edge of balance. And it's the same for both teams. If you don't push these boats as hard as possible, they don't go quick. And that's what they've got to keep doing.
Well, they're pushing the limits physically as well. We all know this is the most physical America's Cup we have ever seen. The crews are pushing their heart rates close to 90% of redline. That's the equivalent of a Tour de France bicyclist, if you can think about it. People might think sailing of the past with guys just riding along on the boats. Well, that is no more. And fatigue plays an important part in this new America's Cup. We had a chance to talk to Dean Barker about that very subject this morning.
Fatigue for the guys is obviously a factor when you're out there racing hard, but we've had a pretty good week in terms of racing and then recovery, and so the guys are they're fighting fit, absolutely raring to go again today. But yeah, it's a balance. You've got to be very mindful of fatigue on the guys and also the equipment.
So do you think that balance of trying to keep everybody fresh and physically fit and into this game, and you know, we saw Grant Dalton, he wasn't on the boat in the first race. Now, interesting to point out, the first time Grant Dalton stepped off the boat, Emirates Team New Zealand lost. The second time today that he gave the keys of the car to the boys, well, look what they did again, you know? So, you know, if you're, if you're Grant Dalton, what do you say to the boys when you come back into the dock?
I think he's just going to tell him that he's on board from now on, because 2 out of 2 is not good record, and you know, he's obviously been doing a good job leading this team for the last 3 years in the lead up to this event, and you know, he knows that, you know, Winnie, who keeps replacing him, is probably a fitter, stronger guy, but not always the most important thing on these boats.
Okay, so let's revisit what happened when Grant Dalton gave the keys to the boat to the kids and let them go out and play. They almost bricked it up, but it was pretty entertaining for us to see. So, Chris, let's start with you. Tell us why this almost happened again. Talk about the wing being inverted.
Well, as they go through the entrance of the tack, the wing is popped one way, and then the camber pops, the hydraulics pop the camber in the wing through to the other way. And it didn't actually pop. The combination of that, the combination of lots of lift on the foil that helps fly the hull around the tack, and then just the wind getting under and grabbing the aero package is what made the boat hang there for so long. But I mean, they did an incredible job to keep the boat, to recover the boat. You could see Glenn Ashby wrestling the wheel, and whoever's holding the wing down on the other side. It's insane. I mean, they've basically done a water start to get the boat back upright, and we have to be grateful in many ways that we had the AC-45s, because I think the practice that we learned there with using the wing on the leeward side to bring the boat back upright has actually helped us all out and helped those guys out masses there.
Nathan, you told us during the break that, just look, I mean, every time you see it, it's amazing. You told us that you're training in the AC-45s. You actually can right one of these boats if you keep the wing inverted. How would that work on an AC-72?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it'd be the same on a 72, but often when you do capsize a 45, the boat ends up in this position on its side with the wing in the water, and you simply get a chase boat to come in and start towing you upwind very slowly. And you can wind the wing down to leeward, and then as you slowly go forward, it will water start. So this is what these guys did. You know, these guys have capsized their 45 many times before. And as Chris touched on, what they've learned, what we've all learned from sailing the 45 saved them in this capsize. They know that, you know, if it gets to like a 45-degree heel, if you start to trim the wing down to leeward, then you can save yourself in situations like this. And, you know, without a doubt, the 45s have been invaluable for this America's Cup for all the sailors.
Jimmy's reaction, looking at them to leeward. He's also concerned with the fact that he's avoiding on starboard. That gives Emirates Team New Zealand a penalty. That penalty there just to add insult to injury. So I'm going to put you guys in the hot seat one last time. I like doing this every day. Predictions for tomorrow. Nathan, you first.
Oh, I think we're gonna see a really good race for sure. I think Jimmy's going to study the starts a bit from today, and I reckon he's going to come out firing in those starts. A little less aggressive and more about just getting control. And you know, I think if we get 2 races, we'll see 1 all tomorrow.
Chris, your thoughts real quick?
It's going to be a massive race. I think it could influence the series a lot, but Oracle do have a mountain to climb. Good breeze, could be very strong for Oracle, but the Kiwi machine is just rolling on.
So Oracle Team USA has found their stride. They've regained their momentum, and the game is back on here for the 34th America's Cup in San Francisco.
History is part of the DNA of the America's Cup, and Bob Fisher, who's covered 15 cups over 46 years, believes one era stands out.
One of the most interesting eras of the America's Cup was undoubtedly that of the J-class from 1930 to 1937. And there were 3 events, 3 challengers, 3 defenders, and they were all run by interesting people. And this is what the Cup is about as well, the people behind it. From England came Sir Thomas Lipton in 1930, and in 1934 it was Sir Thomas Sopwith, the aircraft manufacturer, and he tried again in 1937. And to defend, Harold Vanderbilt. Well, the Vanderbilts had it going for them in a big way, and he had 3 successful defences. First of all, it was with Enterprise, then he had Rainbow, and finally with the superboat Ranger. Today, we have foiling catamarans competing for the America's Cup. That's technology in sailing at its highest possible level. But technology has always been part of the America's Cup. From America herself, which was technologically better than the British boats of 1851, and particularly it was accelerated during the 30s with the J-class. I mean, they had aluminium masts and things of that nature, and winches which had started to come in, and it made the work a lot easier. The J-class held the romance of the America's Cup to the absolute nugget. You couldn't get any more glamorous than that, with the mansions in Newport to back it up and the people who were involved. But, you know, it had to move on. And then came World War II, and that destroyed the economies of the world.
Back in San Francisco, race number 9 officially abandoned at the 34th America's Cup. So one race gets underway and completed, and the Americans win that one. The second race was going the way of the Kiwis, but it was very close. So there it is, 6 wins to 2, 6 points to 0. The Kiwis need 3, the Americans need 9. And Ken Reed, as we look toward tomorrow, what could be the exact same forecast, what do you expect?
Well, today, Todd, we saw a complete turn of events. The one thing we said was Jimmy Spithill had to win the start. Well, of course, he lost. The other thing we said was they got to be ahead at that bottom gate because they don't have any upwind speed. We were wrong. This is really a big change in this whole feeling of this regatta. If Oracle can keep pace upwind and tack well, we might have a regatta on our hands.
Remember, though, New Zealand needs 3 more wins, so if 2 races take place tomorrow and New Zealand wins them, they could wrap it up on Tuesday. If the Americans can get 2 wins tomorrow, then they would extend it well into next week, and the racing would continue on here in beautiful San Francisco, and the fans would continue to flow down to AC Park, and I think a lot of people are looking forward for that.
Complete change of scenery at the Oracle compound tonight. Look for these guys to just walk in, big smiles on their face, but don't stop trying to develop, fellas. You got to get faster every day.
So that'll do it for things here in San Francisco, the 34th America's Cup. On behalf of Gary Jobson and Ken Reed, I am Todd Harris saying so long for now from beautiful San Francisco. We'll see you tomorrow for the 34th America's Cup.